Great. So, between the time that I made that intro to now, it's been like a week. And, well, for one, I can't remember what I said in it. Which, I mean, like, could have happened within 5 minutes of making the video. But also, like, part of the reason why it took me so long to sit down here and do these readings is because I don't know if it's like the Taurus sun in me, if it's my Virgo moon, blah, 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 I don't know. But it's like, I felt like I wanted to have something more prepared, and I get stuck and hung up on these, like, wanting something to be perfect, which it never is. And it's just almost like an excuse, right? So I don't know. Why am I talking about this? I don't know. Maybe you needed to hear it too, that if you are delaying doing something, other light. If you're delaying doing something, if you're waiting for the perfect time for something, there's no such thing. There just isn't. And, like, we start kind of like amping up on the anxiety around it too, right? Because then I started feeling anxious, like, oh my gosh, like looking at the date, oh my gosh, like when was the last time I put out videos, blah, 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 and then for me, I just kind of shut down, which isn't good. That's not helpful for anybody. It doesn't make the anxiety go away. And that anxiety comes from knowing that I wanted to sit down here and I wanted to put out a message to you guys. I wanted to, get some readings out there again. And the fact that I wasn't doing it was what was causing the anxiety. And the reason why I wasn't doing it is because I wanted to have something else that either added value to the reading or whatever, which is really kind of interesting because Venus just went retrograde right on Sunday. And that's the second house for me, which is about worthiness, value, right? And here I am going on and on about wanting something, whatever it is, to be perfect. And also the main message behind that being showing up exactly where you are and with exactly whatever tools that you have right now to do the thing. So with that being said, I'm going to turn this into the intro video. So you won't even see the one that I was talking about that I just did a week ago because that has nothing now. I realized that last month I didn't get around to doing human design profile readings, and I do want to do those still. I'm like teetering between, wanting to make those the priority and the zodiac signs secondary, or, kind of keep, because there's tons of videos from YouTube creators about zodiac signs. I haven't seen a single one about human design profiles or really anything else. And I think it's cool because it's just a different avenue to receive a message, like any zodiac sign could be a 1-3 profile or a 2-5 profile or whatever, right? So I think I just answered my own question, and I think I'm going to, for the time being, I'm going to lead with the human design profile readings. And if I get around to doing zodiac readings in a month, then great. If not, it is what it is for the time being. I'm a manifesting generator, 5-1, emotional authority, and true to manifesting generator form. I have a million things going on, which is kind of why, like, my time is all of a sudden limited, and I am struggling to get all 24 videos out in a month. So that's okay because, it's energy, right? And for right now, for whatever reason, I have a limited availability of time, but also energy. I'm sacral, but that doesn't mean that I just, I I have endless amount of energy. So, we still need to be taking care of our sacral and giving it rest. But like I said, I have a ton of stuff going on. And at some point, the energy is going to shift. And at some point, I will be able to put 24 videos out again. And, it really goes into trust. That's a big thing with human design, too. The major thing is deconditioning the ways that we were structured to live our lives. And most of that is not listening to our own inner wisdom and guidance. And, that's where the strategy and authority comes from. So without any further delay, because I could keep going on, and I probably will in the videos. But again, I'm going to lead with the human design profile readings. I am not going to worry about, I like to have some sort of content that goes over each profile, just to give you, like a different perspective from somebody else and their understanding of what the profile says. I have some stuff buried in my phone, but I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go search for it this time. So going forward, I'll the next time we do these readings, I'll have some sort of content. But for now, we're just going to treat it in some kind of way. Okay, great. So here we are. You may be a 4-6 or a opportunist role model. If you're not, that's okay. I mean, everybody's welcome. But if you are, you will be a opportunist role model. The fourth line, opportunist, comes with the community networking, having acquaintances. Your best opportunities are going to be found through people that you know, and maybe people that you don't know. But it's let's just say, for example, if you're looking for a job, even just mentioning it to a friend, I'm looking for a job. So if you hear of anything, let me know. And maybe they mention it to a friend, or maybe they just hear something and, through a friend who knows somebody who's hiring, and it just finds its way back to you, right? You might have opportunities for other people that right? It's kind of like this circle of opportunity, hence the opportunist. But again, it does kind of come with the community thing, and you might just have a lot of acquaintances, or even just find that it's easy for you to make acquaintances with people, or even build community in some aspect. That's not to say that, of course, you love being around, groups of people all of the time, or even that you have to be around groups of people all of the time. No, that's not it. Because, I have this mug that says a group of people sounds like no thanks. But anyway, it's more so about, like I said, building that network to where you can find opportunity, or even present opportunity to other people. And then you have the sixth line, which is the role model line, and that comes with 3 tiers. So the first 30 years of your life, the sixth line operates as a third line, which is about trial and error, making and breaking bonds. It's trying things, seeing if they work. It's figuring out a lot of things that don't work, so it can be a bit chaotic. And with the fourth line on the conscious side, a lot of that trial and error might have been around, relationships with people, or community in some aspect, or groups of people in some aspect. So after the age of 30, it's called going up on the roof, and that's where you start unpacking all of the first, 30 years, the experiences that you have, what worked, what doesn't work, what stays, what goes. It's giving yourself a little bit of a break as well. Because, the first 30 years could have been a bit chaotic, like I said. So it is an opportunity to become more observant, right? Like looking at things from a higher perspective so that you can see more of the picture versus, when you're right on top of something, your perspective of it is limited. But then when you back up, when you get a bit above it, then it's like, more information is available to you. So you're up there for the next 20-ish years, I believe. So the first tier is until your Saturn return, which happens somewhere between the ages of 28 to 30. And then you go up on the roof until I believe it's either your Chiron return or your second Saturn return. And now for some reason I'm like drawing a blank, which I effing hate when that happens because I feel like I look dumb. But it's either your Chiron return or your second Saturn return, because you have a Saturn return basically every 28 to 30-ish years, because that's how long it takes for Saturn to be in the same zodiac sign again. So you're on the roof until you are basically in your 50s. And when you come off of the roof, it's like, now being in that role model stage, you're able to share the lessons that you've learned. You're able to share what works and what doesn't work. And, that could be community-based. It's not necessarily that you're like up on a stage, talking to people. You can, but it's more so like when people do seek you out for your knowledge, you're able to share with them, like you're able to universalize that information in a way where they understand. Because, when we think of role models, it's like, looking up to somebody because of either, the way that they live their lives or the values and principles that they live by, or whatever the case may be, right? So people would then kind of look to you in that same way. And then it's like, kind of being a leader in a certain capacity. Yeah. Wondrous Universe. Walk in beauty. I love that. This has a very, like stop and smell the roses kind of vibe to it. It could even just be like recognizing the universe within yourself, right? Because I'm getting this vibe of, like this big ass wizard, like that. Speaking of, is that Saturn or is that Jupiter? Does Saturn have rings? I think it does. Does Jupiter? I don't know. Because I'm drawing another blank. But that's kind of interesting that I was just talking about. And maybe that's just confirmation. It's your second Saturn return. I don't know. But even just like recognizing your place, like your place in the universe, your place in the collective, your place in your collective, like whatever community. And that can literally be anything. It could be your family. That could be biological or chosen. It could be, your friend group. It could be your job. It could, whatever it is, right? I don't know why. Whatever. My nose is going crazy all of a sudden. So maybe you have like allergies or something. I don't know. It was fine until I started doing this reading. This looks like a duck to me. Right here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but maybe you've been seeing a lot of ducks. Maybe ducks have some sort of, I don't know, something for you. I don't even think it's supposed to be anything, but it just looks like a duck to me. Walk in beauty. I mean, like, that could even be getting outside. You know, like this last week, I sat outside and read a whole ass book. The weather was perfect. I wasn't feeling that well anyway. Like, I was just kind of recovering from a cold or something. The weather was perfect. It was like the last day that it was going to be perfect before it was just going to be too effing hot for like at least a week. And I just sat outside and read. I can't even tell you the last time I read a book. I'm not much of a reader. And anytime I do read anything, it's about astrology or human design, or it's like work almost, right? So it was nice to just indulge. And, you know, I mean, it was perfect. Like, the weather was perfect. I kept like saying, you know, I'm so grateful, you know, like for the weather today. And I was looking at the sky, and there was like a perfect little breeze that was going through. So, you know, it's just like getting outside or just showing gratitude for the things that are beautiful in your life. We have the Four of Pentacles, the Nine of Wands, King of Cups. We only take the cards that come out, not the cards that flip. These two are giving me the same vibes, the King of Cups and this Wondrous Universe. We have the Knight of Swords. We have the Three of Swords. And the Chariot. The Fool. The Ace of Wands. Look at, oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Major Arcana cards at the bottom of the deck, and the Ace of Wands thrown in there. Come on. Okay, I just wanted to move the camera a little bit better. These two cards to me are like giving this energy over here, which is interesting that they show up at the end of the reading. So we start with the Four of Pentacles. Pentacles have to do with our money, how we get it, how we save it, how we spend it. It's our physical time. Like, what are we spending our physical time doing? It's also our physical body. You know, it's literally anything in the 3D. Anything we can touch, anything, you know, that has value. And the Four of Pentacles generally talks about holding on too tight. This to me feels like protecting what you have built. You know, there's this little nest egg down here. You know, it's like not wanting to release control even. There's this scarcity mindset that comes with this because, you know, of course, when we move on to the Five of Pentacles, that is the lack, the scarcity, the, you know, being left in the cold. So, you know, we start with this Four of Pentacles here that's like, you know, this is how much I have and I'm afraid to let it go because I'm more afraid that I'm not going to get it back, or that I'm not going to invest it well, or, you know, whatever the case may be. So it's interesting that we start that way, you know, because it's like there is this energy here where, you know, is there something that you are holding on to too tightly? It could be your time. It could be that you don't want to invest in whatever it is, whether it's, you know, something that, you know, personal development, or training in some capacity, or whatever it is. There is this message about not wanting to let go. And with the Knight of Swords is the fastest moving knight in the whole deck. Swords have to do with our thoughts, our mind, It's truth, honesty. I also see swords as being the card of ego, because it's generally where we hear our ego is in our minds, and our ego is created by the stories that we attach to experiences, to feelings, right? True or not? Whether they were even our stories or not. There's also, communicating what you're thinking. It could even just be like resisting moving forward in some capacity. Whether, that's putting yourself out there, whether it is communicating your thoughts, like if there's something that has just been, kind of like turning around in your mind, because, there's this little pile of money and gems and stuff down there, and it's like there's this feeling about not wanting to let it go. And maybe that is because we have the Nine of Wands and we have the Three of Swords, which are both like, they're not, like the happiest cards in the tarot. The Nine of Wands is the wounded warrior. Wands having to do with action, the motivation behind the actions that we take. It's creativity, passion. I also see wands as being, did you see that gnat that just, oh my gosh, sorry. I swear, if you have plants, you have effing gnats too. I have not figured out how to not. So anyway, the gnat is a paid actor. So the Nine of Wands, wands. I also see them as being cards of information, because that's what you get by trying things, right? Like, and especially with that sixth line, like, wherever you are in your journey through the sixth line, whether you are under the age of 30, whether you're between 30 and 50 something, or if you're over the age of 50, that during the first 30 years, you were learning a lot, and going through a lot. And, again, right? Like, it's the actions that you have taken, the things that you have tried, like you've learned what works, you learned what doesn't work, and you have that information now. That doesn't necessarily mean that it wasn't heavy, because like I said, the Nine of Wands is the wounded warrior. This is somebody who has been through it. They started at the Ace of Wands, and here they are at the Nine of Wands, and they're like, I need a breaky poo. But also, nines are individual completion. So the message that comes with the Nine of Wands is, yes, take a break, but don't stop. Like, it's not time for you to take off your shoes yet, right? Like, I was just looking at her boots here, but she is sitting down. I'm saying she because that's the way that presenting this looks like a lioness too. There's also, all these wands are set up around her, and she's holding on to one wand. So this also even just kind of feels like protection, protecting yourself, protecting your energy. And maybe though, maybe you have been doing that, because I was just looking at this card over here again. Maybe you have been doing that for a period of time of, protecting your peace, protecting your energy, which is great. And we all should learn how to do that. But it's almost like, if you are protecting it to a point where it's like preventing the beauty, or preventing you from seeing the beauty in something, you could just be exhausted in some capacity. Maybe there are other responsibilities in your life that are just kind of like sucking up all of the energy that you do have for right now. This could also even be healing something. Like if this Knight of Swords is a person for you, and if it is a person for you. It would be, because it's a knight, right? So it's not a king, it's not a queen. So it's somebody who, they're not yet in their highest expression. There would be a bit of, arrogance that goes along with this person. They might like come in really fast and also leave really fast. And it might just be where you feel like it's something that you can't quite let go of. But also like, it's recognizing the impact that has had on you. And especially moving on with the Three of Swords, because the Three of Swords is about rejection, disappointment. Again, though, that it's swords, so it's about how those experiences and those feelings, like what stories we attached to them. We can see these three swords sticking out of this heart that she's holding up to her chest. There's this gravestone here. This feels more like mourning something, somebody. It could be this Knight of Swords here. And I mean, this doesn't even have to be anybody that's younger, but just like intellectually or even emotionally, they would be younger or just a bit more immature. So like I said, this could be being in the energy of healing something here, because that does take a lot of work and it is a bit isolating. These two people feel very isolated to me. This person does not. And this, like I said, feels like it's more grieving. So again, that's why I was just kind of getting this feeling about healing whatever this is over here, whatever it is that you are holding on to. Even if that is like holding on to a perception or an idea of the way that you think something is going to go. Whatever the Four of Pentacles is that you're holding on really tight to, like if you have a perception that, it's not going to be well received if I put it out there, or whatever, the case may be. It could be even healing that. And then, like I said, like these two cards feel more like this card over here. The King of Cups, kings are the highest expression of the suit. Cups are about our emotions. How do we feel about things? What is our relationship to love? Whether that's romantic love, platonic love, like how do we give ourselves love? Like how do we express love within ourselves? This is somebody who is, like emotionally mature. I believe that the King of Cups is Pisces. And the King of Cups can be, to me, the King of Cups feels like you. So whatever even the situation is, it is bringing you a level of emotional understanding and emotional maturity. The Sun card is, it's like everything good. It's joy, it's bliss, it's life force energy too. So it's revitalizing, rejuvenating. It could even be that you need to get out into the sun a little bit. There's all these butterflies that signify, transformation. And again, I keep like staring at this card and it just like this feeling of like remembering who you are. Who said that? Mufasa? I don't know why I'm like just all of a sudden getting a picture of like the Lion King and he's like, remember who you are. The Chariot, moving forward. This is even faster than, the Knight of Swords. This is Cancer. The Sun is Leo. Also, speaking of Leo, you might want to see where Leo is in your chart, because Venus just went retrograde in Leo and it's going to be retrograde until September. So You might just want to see where Leo falls in your natal chart and what the properties of that house is, because Venus is the planet of beauty and love and, giving and receiving love, affection, right? So you might just want to check that out. But the Chariot is about moving forward. It's being divinely guided. It's also, your shadow and the light being, it's like moving in the same direction, and those two forces working together. The Fool, brand new beginning, taking a leap of faith. We have the butterflies again. Trusting the process. There's a lot of trust and surrender that goes along with the Fool card too. And then the Ace of Wands. Like I said, even on this Nine of Wands, she's holding this one wand here. So it's like, it's remembering what you are passionate about. Remembering, the actions that you have taken and why you took those actions. The Ace of Wands, it's a new beginning. And I love that it's coming after the Fool card too, because it's, taking that leap based on, like what you are passionate about. It's following that passion, getting creative. The Moon card, again, Cancer. Although some people associate the Moon card to Pisces, it's water nonetheless. And the Moon is about the subconscious, phases also. It's like things are yet to be revealed. I love that the Magician is after the Moon card. So it's kind of like whatever is going to happen between the Ace of Wands and the Magician, it's like it's yet to be discovered. And maybe it's also like you don't know what is going to happen between the Ace. Like it's like you can't intuit it, or you can't see it. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Like, the Magician shows up to tell us that we have exactly what we need to get started on a thing. We have the skills, we have the resources, we have the ideas, we have, the emotional space to do it. And if we don't, because sometimes we get caught up in, I don't have whatever, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the blah, 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 blah. And maybe we don't, right? Like, but it's recognizing that it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to look a certain way to get started. And whatever you need is going to show up for you whenever you need it. I always nerd out a little bit with the Magician when the Magician shows up, and I talk about Harry Potter. If you've seen those movies, hopefully. But the Sword of Gryffindor shows up to exactly who needs it at exactly the time that they need it. Right? They didn't have it a couple seconds ago, but then all of a sudden there it is. They do whatever they need to do with it, and then it's gone. That's the Magician. Like, you have exactly what you need, and if you need something else, it'll show up to you at exactly the time that you need it. We have the Wheel of Fortune. And this is a natal chart here. So that's also kind of why I was like bringing up, Leo. The Wheel of Fortune is about things changing. I always see the Wheel of Fortune as being a good card. I don't care where it shows up. Like I was saying at the beginning in the intro, like there was a time where I had an abundance of time and I could put 24 videos out. And then that changed. That's just the wheel, right? Like things changed. And, I had an abundance of time before, and now, like it's being refocused to whatever it needs to be refocused on for the time being. And, eventually the wheel is going to change again. Like nothing is permanent. Everything is constantly changing. So the Wheel of Fortune is a good thing. We have the Ten of Swords, overthinking coming to an end. The tens are completion. So it's like, whatever it is, it's like kind of holding you back mentally, that would be coming to an end. We have the King of Swords, which is mental clarity, Two of Wands, planning for the future. I mean, I could keep going, but I'm not because, I don't know how long this video already happened, but it's good. It's good. Okay. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for being here and allowing me to read your cards. I will talk to you soon. Bye.